Hare Krishna. Okay, welcome everyone to the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the opulence of the Absolute. And today and the next seminar, I'm going to quote some very unusual verses from the Gita. These are verses spoken by Arjuna. And they're very important and they're very relevant because one thing is, all right, what the speaker says, but the other is, all right, but now, what does the person to whom the Bhagavad Gita is being spoken, what does he say? And today these are verses 12 and 13. These are a summary of how Arjuna understands everything that he's heard up to now. So my question to dear viewers is, have you also understood everything in the same way that Arjuna is also expressing? Now, what does Arjuna say? Okay, here it is. Arjuna Uvacha, that means Arjuna said. Uvacha means said. Param Brahma Param Dhamma Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devam Mujam Vibhum Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve Devarshir Naradastata Asito Devalo Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. And translation, Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages, such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyas, confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. So here is how Arjuna has reacted, and there's two parts of this translation that I want to speak on. One is he's giving a whole list of what he has understood about Krishna up to now. He says, you are the supreme, the ultimate abode. In other words, you're the ultimate destination, the purest. We talk about purity, but there are different levels of purity. There's pure and more pure and purest. Here it says, you are purest, meaning that Krishna is actually purity himself. You are the absolute truth. We're not just talking about God, because people have many conceptions about what God is, but the absolute truth, that beyond which there is nothing, that who is the source of everything, and at the same time, that which is the greatest, the smallest, inside, outside, and is everything, but if you remember in chapter 9, at the same time is also different from everything. And you are the eternal. He's eternal, just like we're all eternal, because as souls, we're also eternal. Transcendental means beyond that, the grasp of the energy which is binding us, the original person. People ask, well, where did God come from? This is a stupid question. God, that's the whole idea, that God doesn't come from anywhere. That's why he's God. He's the original person, and all other persons come from him. Therefore, it's stated, you're unborn. He has no birth. Now, the second part. On what basis am I saying this? So Arjuna isn't just saying, okay, you're my friend, and therefore I should say some nice flattering things about you. But here, this is not about flattery. Arjuna quotes the authority of other great sages, whom you may not have heard about. Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyas. Vyas is probably the most likely, because he's the author of all of the Vedas. So they're all saying the same thing. What I said, they say. Now, of course, someone who's read different versions of Bhagavad Gita, and especially who's read different commentaries, translations by Western Indologists, Sanskrit scholars, and so on, they will have had a different version. Their version will have not had the same conclusion that's described here in Bhagavad Gita itself and described by Arjuna. But remember, they are newly introduced into a culture of which they're, generally speaking, 99% observing at a distance. In other words, they remain with their ties, suits, short skirts, and all, and keep their grip and their existence in Western culture and looking at another culture from a real distance. Not a distance of experience, but a distance of so-called objectivity. I won't get into what so-called means. So, but that tradition itself and the tradition of the Vedas and the tradition of Bhagavad Gita starts off that you can't look at this without practicing it. Unless you're immersed, you don't know. How good a swimmer can you be without ever having been in the water? You can watch all the videos that you want. You can do so many things on land, but it's a different thing being in the water than being on land. And I taught swimming when I was young, but any swimming coach will agree with me. You want to learn swimming? Get in the water. So you want to know what Bhagavad Gita means? This is what it means. This is what Bhagavad Gita means. If you really want to be a scholar of Bhagavad Gita, then you have to practice what Bhagavad Gita says. So, and he's quoting people who are steeped in this tradition. Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyas. This book was written down by an author. It was written down by Veda Vyas. Now, who's the best person to ask about what his opinion is on what the main speaker of this book is, who that person is, who is Krishna, other than the author himself? Is he just writing some kind of fairy tale? Is he writing some nice philosophy? Or is he actually writing down what the Supreme is speaking to us? So, good thoughts from Arjuna, something to think about, and we will come to Arjuna in our next talk. Thanks so much. Hare Krishna.